It's 8:21 on AM Tampa Bay. We've been talking about the possibility of the hyperloop and air taxis and aerial gondolas becoming the future of mass transit here in the Tampa Bay area. And the interesting thing was, a long, long time ago, we were saying, we needed light rail, and we kept saying maybe there's going to be technology that's even better than light rail. And I think that might be the case. And Brian Pessaro joins us right now, and he is the principal planner for TBARTA, the project manager of hyperloop, air taxis, and aerial gondolas. And Brian, looking at the future of that for our Tampa Bay area, that's pretty exciting.
It certainly is. This was something the legislature came to TBARTA and asked us to take a look at and see if it has any feasibility to it.
I know you've been talking about the hyperloop being for the entire state of Florida, which is kind of exciting to think you might be able to go from here to Disney at 700 miles an hour and right down I-4, which usually crawls along at about 10 miles an hour. And, I mean, that's exciting, but the air taxis and the gondolas would be here for the Tampa Bay area, for Tampa, St. Petersburg, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, first we want to find out if these technologies are feasible, and that's the main purpose of the study. We want to try and get a better understanding of their capabilities and limitations, kind of separate the hype from the reality, if you will.
What do you expect that this study will tell us about these type of technologies?
Well, let's see. We want to do an assessment of what's the current state of the technology. We're going to be doing interviews with manufacturers. We're going to check to see what federal and state regulations would apply. And then we're also going to do a high-level preliminary analysis of where these technologies could make sense. So as you said, in the case of Hyperloop, we'll be looking at the entire state. With the air taxis and gondolas, we're going to focus on the Tampa Bay area to see what, if any, areas would it make sense to use those.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about the possibility of gondolas going across the bay. I mean, you'd have to put them pretty high so that the shipping could get under there. But as far as the air taxis, obviously they could fly from Tampa to St. Petersburg and back, and in fact, just about anywhere, I would think.
Yeah, there's several startup companies that have been developing what are called eVTOL aircraft. These are fully electric. eVTOL stands for electric vertical takeoff and landing.
Yeah.
So this service, I mean, it could say, depending on who you talk to, air taxis could provide connections between smaller regional airports and main airports, or a city could have a network of rooftop skyports.
Yeah, that's what I thought about, the rooftop skyports, because I remember some time ago when they first talked about them, going from the top of the garage at Tampa International Airport, taking people over to St. Petersburg, who don't want to have to take their cars and park there. They just ride the air taxi over and then catch their planes.
Right.
Are you still looking at light rail as a possibility, given that we have so many CSX tracks already around here?
HART and PSTA maybe looking at that. That's not part of the scope of this study that we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
When you get into a hyperloop, if that thing's going hundreds of miles per hour, what are the chances that you're going to vomit on that?
Well, I mean, right now it's all theoretical. I mean, if you talk to the companies that are developing this technology, for example, Virgin Hyperloop One, I mean, they all say how the inside of the cabin, it'll be pressurized. It'll be just similar to as if you were in an airplane, and that you won't feel it. But that being said, I mean, this is all. Everything with Hyperloop at this point is all very much in the experimental stage. I mean, they've not done any testing so far with actual passengers inside the pod.
Now, is Hyperloop being used in any other countries around the world, or would this be one of the first uses of the Hyperloop?
From what I've read, it seems like Virgin Hyperloop is the furthest along. They've signed a deal to begin to do some testing in India. But the earliest that I've heard that even that project would be ready to start operations is around 2030.
Yeah, we're looking a long way down the road for any of this, as a matter of fact. But it's pretty exciting to look at the future that way. And it's great that you all are involved in checking it out here, the study that's going on. And Brian Pessaro, and by the way, we'll have the information on our website at WFLAnews.com/AMTB. But Brian, we appreciate your joining us on AM Tampa Bay this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.